Greetings from Blanket Creek Provincial Park in British Columbia, about 25 kilometers south from the town of Revelstoke. Beautiful park. We'll show you around here a bit in a later video, but this video we're going to go check out the town of Revelstoke with a special focus on the Revelstoke Railway Museum. So let's hit it. And through the miracle of video editing, we saved you a 25-minute drive or so, and we are here at the Railway Museum in Revelstoke, British Columbia. And this is a really nice touch. The admissions area and ticket window is all designed like an old railway station. Get you a look at the admission prices as of our visit in September 2025. And you can't really tell the story of the railroad through this area without starting with Albert Rogers, the man for whom the Rogers Pass is named and the surveyor who discovered the route through the Selkirk Mountains that the CPR would eventually follow. And in our previous video, we talked about the deadly 1910 avalanche that buried the CPR line through the Rogers Pass. Well, here's a model/diorama that kind of shows the scene of that avalanche as it would have looked in 1910. And of course today, we use GPS and laser finders and all sorts of things to navigate and find our way around. But back in the 1880s, they were using survey equipment like this. So the railway was built with two crews working simultaneously, one from the west under Andrew Onderdonk and one from the east under James Ross. And of course, the story of the railway is also the story of the exploitation of the Chinese workers. They were paid less, given the worst jobs, the most dangerous jobs, and we don't really know how many were killed in the building of the railway because they weren't really required to keep accurate records of the Chinese laborers. And check out this model of the Stony Creek Bridge, which amazingly only lasted 9 years. And of course there would be multiple updates to the route through the mountains, including the 1909 spiral tunnels and the 1916 Connaught Tunnel. Both of these are amazing engineering feats, especially, when you consider the time frame in which they took place. I kind of want to build one of these velocipedes. Not that I have the skill to do that, but it'd be kind of fun to ride the rails with this. And it says it's really easy to get off the tracks. That wheel just folds up and then the whole thing tips up and out of the way. What could possibly go wrong? Now this is cool. This is a photo I have never seen before. This is the workers staging their own last spike ceremony. So you're probably more familiar with the official photo of the last spike with all the dignitaries and executives. But this one here's just showing the common folk doing their own thing. And while I'm sure a lot of railway fans know the story of Sanford Fleming and the development of standard time and time zones, I don't think a lot of other people really understand where the history of our time zones came from, because it was really only when the railways were first developed could people travel far enough away from their home in the course of a day to actually have the sun's position in the sky get out of whack if you kept trying to use the time at your local location. Prior to the development of time zones, every town pretty much kept their own version of time based upon when the sun reached its highest point in the sky. That was noon. And the railways really required the accurate keeping of time and being able to standardize those time zones. And another scale model here, this time of Arrowhead. Arrowhead was a town on the shores of the Arrow Lakes, and this entire site ended up being submerged in the late 1960s, I believe it was, when the Keenly Side Dam upstream of Castlegar was built, and the two Arrow Lakes basically became one giant reservoir. And now we come to the more famous official photograph of the driving of the last spike. Donald Smith driving the spike there, and just off to his left, our right, is the Craigellachie Kid standing there wearing the little hat. And we did a video about him and his history of how he got into that photograph. Checking out some of the rolling stock inside the museum building here. Pretty cool that you could cook food for an entire rail car full of people in a galley this small.
It's a Dometic fridge.
Oh yeah.
Come check it out.
Here's your air conditioning. Quarters tight enough to make Bella the bowler feel spacious. Wow, it just keeps on going.
Oh, that's a quote from the book or not, huh?
And a snippet here from spiritual grandfather of the channel, Ken Liddell. And Emily recently found me a copy of his book, I'll Take the Train. I haven't finished reading it yet, though. And a diesel electric simulator here. we don't have any coins, so we won't be trying it out on this trip. And of course, the railways really gave birth to the modern tourism industry in the mountains and the mountain parks. And, you know, many of the classic and luxurious CP hotels that were built in this era still exist in some form or another today. Telegraph office here. And a discussion here about the Selkirk locomotives, and be sure to check out our video about the Selkirk locomotive that sits outside Heritage Park in Calgary and its connection to our spiritual grandfather Ken Liddell. And look up here at the big Canadian Pacific 5468, built in 1948 at the Montreal Locomotive Works, right at the tail end of the steam era. Functioned up until 1954 when it was retired. A 282 Mikado, one of only 3 apparently still in existence.
Makes it go. The throttle is way down on the front end of the engine. It takes a long. That's why this rod runs through the handrail is hollow.
And since there's stairs, let's go check out the cab.
And then you have the tiring controls are all together. So they don't. That's where the tiring control is there. Now, we're here to explain the tiring controls are. They know what they all are. He's got. That's what he does best.
Well, you know, on the fireman side, the fireman job is very important.
And we have a model railway layout up here on the upper level. Such amazing detail. I have a tremendous respect for people who can build models and dioramas to this level of detail and this scale. And not a great view through the window here, but the rail line past the museum is active, and there was a CN engine pulling some Canadian Pacific cars. And before you comment below, yes, I know since the merger with Kansas City Southern that it's now CPKC, but it will always be Canadian Pacific to me. Actually, if you want to comment below, do that anyway. It helps drive engagement, helps the channel a lot. And somewhat fitting, we kind of come to the end of the rail era here. By the mid-20th century, the automobile was taking over. The construction of the Big Bend Highway seen here really made this area much more accessible to automobile traffic, and that was kind of the beginning of the end of the passenger part and the tourism part of the railroad anyway. And CP Locomotive 7001, aka Blue Boy, the first diesel electric locomotive to cross the mountain subdivision, rolled into Revelstoke in January of 1950 as a demonstration unit. And yeah, by 1962 the steam era had come to a conclusion. The new era had been upon us. And how cool is it that it still exists today, just in a different livery. And the last passenger train to pull into Revelstoke occurred in 1990. Now you can still take the Rocky Mountaineer, but it doesn't stop in Revelstoke. But at least we know that, you know, the rail line through here is still very active. We saw that train earlier, so Revelstoke remains a railway town for sure.
and a lot of great railway history here in Revelstoke.
And so now, having toured the inside of the museum, let's step outside and check out the collection of rolling stock that they have on site here in Revelstoke. So this is the first SD40 purchased for use by the Canadian Pacific. Built in 1966 in London, Ontario. And this is one of its sister locomotives, kind of showing you what it would have looked like in its original color scheme from that era.
And since 2023 is part of their 30th anniversary project, the museum has been trying to raise $250,000 to cosmetically restore the locomotive. If you would like to donate or get more details, check out Revelstoke Railway Museum.org.
Caboose 437477, dates from 1954, says it was one of the first cabooses, I want to say caboose, but cabooses, to have the cupola in the center of the car instead of towards the rear. And it looks like we're allowed inside this one. Either that or Emily decided to bust through one of the chains. Well, let's go take a look. Never pass up the chance to go inside. And if you've ever been inside a caboose, this one has the traditional caboose smell. And Emily's shirt almost matches the paint perfectly. Not quite, but... Feels very much just like a large RV of the era. Everything you need. A little sink, some water, dining area, relaxation area,
Bathroom.
and a heater for warmth because it'd be pretty cold in the winter.
Good view.
Yeah, probably the best view of the entire train.
Yep.
Your basic flat car. This one from 1924. So as the sign says, it's one of the oldest pieces of rolling stock in the museum's collection. So this one here is a flange car, originally a boxcar from 1929 and was converted into a flange car around 1967, used for removing light snowfalls from in front of the locomotive. Road repair car with a hand winch to help repair rolling stock while out on the tracks. Steps to nowhere. I tried the door, it doesn't open. Using Emily for scale here, just to kind of give you an indication of the size of this snowplow. Another snowplow. Your traditional boxcar, complete with graffiti. We were saying on the drive out that it's like, well, maybe not so much some of these, but on a lot of these you can actually admire the artistry that goes into it. Just wish they would use a different canvas and leave our rail cars alone. Another boxcar. Let you read about the boxcars there. And over here is the Spans the World logo that the sign was talking about. And then just a little bit further down here, there's one of the old wooden style boxcars. 184254. Well, we are super happy to have finally made it here for a visit. The Revelstoke Railway Museum has been on our list of places to visit for years now, but we've never been able to make it until today. So I think it was a great experience, a very well done museum, wonderfully laid out, great exhibits, very educational, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with us for the ride, and we will see you in the next video.